Hey guys, this is Vinay and you're watching my show, Let's Talk. Very honored and privileged to be sitting with one of the finest actors we have in the country. He started a theatre group called Evam, and today he performs across the world and takes place that has a lot of meaning into it. He's an actor, he's a theatre artist, and he's multifaceted. He's none other than Karthik Kumar. Hi Karthik,
Hi,
welcome to the show.
Thank
you for taking time and coming on.
Pleasure to be here.
So I read this somewhere that you and your friend Sunil, went across and took advice from a lot of people before starting Evam. And people told you that don't get into theatre, starting a company for theatre is not a good idea. People curbed your thoughts and stuff. What made you to actually go ahead and do that?
I think when you ask people permission or you ask them whether something can be done, you have agreed to do it.
Yeah.
And then you're looking for the world to give you a yes.
You just want them to second it.
You want to second it, all right? And this was a rude shock when a lot of people were saying that no, the live art form is no longer sustainable, is no longer viable, and therefore we need to only pursue it as a hobby or as a fleeting passion maybe. And we felt very disappointed, but disappointed maybe if I heard a no at this age. At 25, you just feel incensed. You feel like, wait a minute, I can prove this wrong. How is this possible? It doesn't make logical sense. And so I think we were happy to be incensed at that point of time. And therefore, we were like, no, we're going to prove this wrong. So I think we were stupid enough to start at 25. And I'm glad that stupidity helped us.
One of the best decisions of your life.
Best decisions of my life. Totally.
And then you and your friend went ahead and took up corporate jobs for 2 years because you guys wanted to make your own capital before starting your company. That's a very smart decision.
Yeah.
But was it hard once you get in your monthly income, you're settled in your corporate? Was that burning desire alive for 2 years as much as it was before?
I think the greatest motivation is being in a job that does not take from your soul. It really doesn't wake you up every day, and therefore that's motivation enough to wake up and say, I'm going to change this sooner or later. And therefore that discontent keeps that flame burning inside, and therefore that the oven stays hot, and therefore at some point in time for a fact that you're going to eject out of that system, and therefore
that took 2 years for you.
We had planned to do it for 2 years.
Okay.
Literally.
So it was like a plan.
It was literally calendrical. We were saying, we put in our papers on the Jan 31st of 2003, and we were out by March 31st. We had taken up our jobs and joined the June of 2 years back. And we had literally 24 months that we could target and save as much as possible holding those corporate jobs. So.
And where did you pull your patience in? For 2 years going in and doing something you're not passionate about, yet you know that there's something at the end of the tunnel.
Well, isn't that the story of your entire graduation, post-graduation? You're evidently doing something that you're not cut out to do, or the society wants you to do, and therefore biding your time is something that you get used to. But sometimes biding your time for too long puts out that flame inside. So maybe it's just the right time. You need to jump in and make a difference to yourself. So.
And when you quit the job and you started Evam, right? Was there any inhibitions for failure? Were you scared at some point in time?
I think I really need to. I'm not able to understand the fountainhead of it, but somewhere I think I've been given such a simple, well-protected childhood.
Okay.
I've never feared anything.
Anything.
I've never feared failure. I've done some really stupid things. Like even when I started stand-up comedy 4 years back, right? I'm not a natural comic. I'm not the funny guy in my group. But I had no fear and inhibition when I started. I knew for a fact that I would fail, and I did not fear that failure at any point of time. So failure is largely you fear social ignominy, you fear social rejection, you feel like they're going to laugh at you. I have never had a problem with people laughing at me. They laugh at me even now. Some people call me a failed film actor. People will call me a successful, multiplying X into 100X kind of entrepreneur. I know I'm doing the best that I can, and I love the multiple identities.
But the people who speak about it don't have a national award. they don't have the creative satisfaction, and they don't feel happy getting up every day and going to work.
Well, I think, I mean, anybody who's faulting somebody for something is faulting themselves. So it's more of a projection of themselves onto me. So I'm pretty content with my journey being a long one.
Yeah.
And I hope it's as long as it can, because I hope I to my dying day, keep doing something that constantly surprises me, helps me overcome my fears, and keeps me challenged.
Were your parents anytime telling you that you shouldn't be doing this? Why are you going? Are you nuts?
No, they never told me not to do it.
Okay.
They were cautiously anxious that I was getting into something that they couldn't support, because my father is an engineer, my mother is a social worker. So this is entertainment and the arts and entrepreneurship are not fields that they're well versed with, and therefore they may have been anxious that they couldn't support me financially or with knowledge, right? Like my dad literally said, hey, at the end of your education, you're on your own from this point of time. So I had the responsibility only to myself. So I had to keep them, feeling that, hey, I'm liking what I'm doing.
Which is most important.
Which is the most important thing. So I'm glad that they set me off on that way and allow me to make my mistakes, because if you don't make your own mistakes, you'll never learn.
Yeah. And your friend Sunil plays an important part in your journey of Evam.
Yeah.
So how difficult is it to work with somebody, because you guys have to be in the same wavelength, you guys will hate each other, love each other, fight to death. So how was the journey been with him?
It couldn't have, my Evam journey couldn't have happened without him, because to meet somebody who is a literal yin to your yang, and he's a lot more calmer person. He is a lot more people friendly. I tend to go into a shell. I tend to. No, I'm not a social butterfly at all.
Okay.
So you'll never find me at a social event. So he's been the people friendly person. He's been the more patient one. I'm the more aggressive one. I have a head for finance. He has a head for
marketing, maybe.
For marketing, definitely. He's magnificent at it. So somewhere I think we have complementary strengths and complementary weaknesses, and we have a great fondness and respect for each other as people. Which is
very important.
Yeah, before we even judge each other as artists or as entrepreneurs, and we also have a certain groundedness where we don't. We allow each other to open enough to criticism of each other, and
which is the most important aspect to any relationship.
Yeah, so it's wow. I keep telling Suchi this, that Sunil is my first wife.
And how does she deal with it?
She's happy to set me loose on it. So, okay. He handles a lot more he takes the brunt of it also.
And then when you guys started off Evam, am I pronouncing it right?
Evam is technically the Sanskrit word.
Evam, okay. Evam. When you guys started off Evam, what was your vision and where did you guys want to take that?
I think the vision was very, very to make a living out of the arts. To no longer have people in the arts have to do it as something on the side. They have to do it as something mainstream.
Yeah.
And they have to make a living out of it, which means that at no point of time did we neither want to have the arts to be subsidized by sponsors and patrons. And therefore the arts had to be self-funded, which means that if I can get a young person in my society paying for a live performance.
Correct.
Whether it's dance, music, theater is what we started off with, and today stand-up comedy. We wanted young people to pay for it and come. All right, and no longer did we, in fact, we discarded the entire notion of wanting to knock on brands that can sponsor the arts and be seen as the patron of the arts. We knocked that out because we realized that that's not sustainable. As we started, therefore, we thought that, okay, so performance of art is the only viable way of making it available to audiences. And then we realized actually it's not only that, it's not just the performance. People need art to change them, right?
Correct.
So therefore a bored housewife who sent her kids off right now and is doing nothing at home right now, feeling like, hey, is this all my identity?
Yeah.
Art makes her wake up to a new self.
Correct.
And therefore making that art available to anybody in society, an amateur who says, I want to try acting, making art available to them has become our mission, because of the fact that before we started, art was seen as this theater, art, music, anything classical was seen as this thing that, oh, this is meant for the practitioners, this is meant for the elite, this is meant for the people who have pedigree. And therefore, it was always this high wall that theater had with its audiences. You know, it was
Evam
something
wanted
that
to break that.
I think we broke that because we didn't see art that way. We were not children of artists. We were not children of people who have been in the arts. So therefore, we saw art as something that we could take and play with. And the playing with it was, there's no holds barred in the playing with it.
Yeah.
And we never ever put forth art saying this is good art and this is bad art. We just put forth saying this is a part of our experiment. Come and share it.
And you also mentioned that you took inspiration from Mr. Maniratnam's Bombay Talkies, which he had, Madras Talkies, that he had done long back, right?
Yeah.
That was the only one during the time you started Evam.
He's one man who says, no, I want everybody to watch my film. I will make the non-mainstream a little more mainstream. And so that people will watch it. That doesn't mean I have to tell stories that they want. I will tell my stories in their way.
Correct.
All right. And secondly, as an entrepreneur, he was one of the first filmmakers who said, I want to own my property. All right. I no longer want to suffer not having the Prince of Nayagan as mine. Yeah. Right. From the fourth film, I said, I'm going to own my IP. So today, when he makes Cuddle at a budget of 20 crores or OK Kanmani at a budget of 15 crores, he owns the creative leeway within his budget.
Completely.
And then he says, now I'll sell it at whatever price I want. And therefore, that owning that little piece of heaven, saying, into my creative space and into my financially safe creative space, I'm going to do whatever I can. Nobody's going to interfere with that. I think that was kind of an inspiration.
Very smart.
Very, very. And that was inspirational because art, if you allow it to be dictated by the various extraneous forces, you know, which is financial and market and success and what will people consume and what are they willing to pay for, it can literally kill the artistic process. Because that morning that you wake up at 6 o'clock and you want to write for 1.5 hours, you want to write with absolutely no pressure whatsoever.
Exactly.
So yeah, he was an inspiration for a lot of things in my
journey of
film. Yeah.
In conversation with Karthik, we're going to be right back. Let's come to your journey of movies. Again, is it, in a country like India, movies is something that has massive reach versus theatre, and especially when you started off. So doing movies was a conscious decision in terms of having a reach and making a face as it indirectly helps whatever you do outside movies.
Well, movies is a space that is technically inaccessible to a person from my background. All right, so neither of my parents from the cinema and nobody in my immediate family has ever been in cinema, and therefore cinema is seen as that big bad world that all of us are very curious to have a peek into.
Exactly.
I never at any point of time could have envisioned that I would remain in cinema or even gotten into cinema. So I wouldn't say cinema
was a big break.
It was happenstance.
When performing in front of live audiences versus doing movies is a complete different ballgame altogether.
It's a different art form altogether.
So did you have to kind of mold yourself, or did it come easily for you?
No, I think I had to mold myself. I had to understand. I had to understand camera, and it's a process.
So director plays an important role. So if the director is not good, you do agree that the performances might not be as good as possible, extracting it from the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. It's completely the director who creates that safe space. Like you are creating a safe space for me to talk and have this conversation. If I feel like my guard is up and I'm a little careful and I'm not quite there, so director creates that atmosphere at the set, at the entire creative process, so that you are feeling uninhibited, but at the same time aware of where the director wants to take that scene.
I get what you say, because I take an example of Deepika Padukone, right? She's been in the movies for quite some time. She started off with Om Shanti Om. But Cocktail kind of completely changed the way we performed. And as an audience, I felt this girl can act.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of things goes to director and Piku
Yeah.
for that matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful performance on screen. and
Absolutely.
stuff.
In that sense, I would lament a little saying I'm still an undiscovered actor because I think there's a
You
lot
are.
more. A
You know,
lot more.
I've seen very few movies of yours, but then the best for me is Yaradini Mohini. I mean, the kind of character that you, I mean, there are 3 people in the movie,
Yeah.
and all 3 of them played very important role.
Yeah.
And that was like one of its role that
Yeah.
stood out completely.
And that's a tough one to have gotten that opportunity from Jawahar and Selvaraghavan, right? Because very rarely does in a Dhanush film the third vertex get any importance.
Any important,
And
any frame for that matter.
absolutely. So to have Selvaraghavan having written that script, and he was directing the film in Telugu himself. He was producing it in Tamil, and in Telugu he was not such a big director as he is in Tamil, right? And therefore in Telugu the third vertex kind of disappeared, right? Because he couldn't, because Venkatesh was the hero there, and Venkatesh
Completely overshadowed everything.
overshadowed, yeah, and they made the vertex disappear from the page as well. So in Tamil, Selvaraghavan didn't allow that to happen, and he's a magnificently passionate, beautiful artist, and therefore he's first a writer, and he said, I'm not going to allow that to happen in Tamil, and therefore I think that passion of that writer protected my character more than enough.
You know, there are a lot of people who are doing movies. You are meant to do theatre, and I think you are carrying forward something that it's there in our country and culture for such a long time. I think there is a long way for you to go and a lot of work there, and I'm sure Evam will go much, much higher.
Yeah, yeah.
Karthik, in this season, we're also trying and spreading awareness on cancer.
Yeah.
Because it's the need of the hour. It's very alarming to know that India as a country, double-digit people are being diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
People don't take it seriously, and people don't go to tests to get checks done.
Yeah.
So you are a person who people look up to. People seeing this, what awareness message you want to give them? Is there
First-
anyone that you've personally
Oh yeah,
seen?
yeah. My mother is probably the most passionate voluntary worker at the Cancer Institute since 1983. Right, so she's been with the Cancer Institute for the last 33 years.
Adyar Cancer Institute.
Adyar Cancer
Dr.
Institute.
Vishanta.
Yeah, with under
She's coming in for the show later.
Fabulous. So my mother, Ranganayaki Kumar, she has run a support group for the cancer patients, emotional support group, and thereafter I've seen friends, close relatives. My grandmother died of cancer. My aunt died of cancer. It's a lifestyle disease right now, which means that we're eating food that is a lot more toxic than it would have been 20 years back. It's children are getting afflicted by cancer. But the most powerful thing about cancer and today's medical prowess is that early detection is almost a cure.
Yeah.
All right, and therefore any kind of an odd signal right now that can be detected as early as possible leads to a cure, and I've seen that happen. And I think that is very, very important. Important that we stay alert.
Absolutely.
And also, if possible, as much as possible, keep your lifestyle as healthy, as natural as possible. Eat good produce, eat cooked food. The simple things like telling people saying don't smoke. I mean, smoking should not even be an option. It's truly. I mean, you're basically putting a burning flame into your body.
Absolutely.
That's what smoking is, and when you put it that way, it makes no sense why young people would do it, or maybe as a dare you'll do it once, but why would you choose to do it 8 times a day as a punctuation for your day? It just makes absolutely no sense to me. So early detection is the best cure, and it comes at any age, and it's not to be feared. It's not to be feared. If you're early detection, most often there's a cure. So
Absolutely. Last segment on the show, one-liner answers for some quick questions. One advice from someone that's completely changed your life.
I think, I don't know if Prakash Raj realizes, but he told me to stick to my game, stick on to this. He told me to not just remain an actor, be many things. He wanted me to become an executive producer and a director, do it films. But he told me to stick on to this multiple identity thing. So yeah, I'm glad.
Multitasker that you are today.
Yeah.
One theatre performance of yours that you've done in many theatres, right? One that you can never forget.
Well, we did a very powerful solo piece about the Muslim identity in the country called Ali J.
Okay.
And we premiered at Edinburgh, and then we came to NCP, National Centre of Performing Arts, and performed it to a Bombay audience, which is the theatre elite. And we had a standing ovation, so
Wow.
that was quite special. Yeah.
One movie of the recent times, any language, that you saw for the performance and admired and
Oh, the new wave Hindi cinema right now is
Killing it, right?
fabulous. I mean, any film right now. I mean, whether it's Talwar or Badlapur.
one advice for young people who want to get into theatre and art and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't not start. Get some art into your life. Get to any kind of art, because there's too much of sport and there's too much of science in our lives right now. Too much of knowledge. Art allows you to explore something into the unknown and come out and enjoy the uncertainty of being unknown. You know, youngsters should allow themselves to start that relationship with their art form early enough in life. So,
One thing that gives Karthik a high, standing ovations.
no, not standing ovation. I think it is to open people's minds with something that you said, and when you make
Inspire
them,
people.
yeah, when you make them laugh, or you make them feel good about themselves, and you opened up a synapse in somebody's head through your art form, there's nothing
feel so
better than
content.
that. There's nothing better than that.
One thing that you would like, that you do apart from your acting and Evam and all of that, what are the fun stuff that you do apart from that?
I travel a lot. I travel as much as possible. I travel as frequently as possible. It makes you feel so anonymous. It makes you feel so insignificant, and it makes you realize that the world is filled with so many diverse.
One message or a word to describe the following people. Mr. Mani Ratnam.
Passionate always. At this age, you should see him at the film set right now, and he makes his first 40th film like his first film. And,
He's very calm and composed also.
no, he's not. He's constantly working things out in his head. He pretends to like actors and be nice to them only so that he can get the work out of them.
Dhanush.
Dhanush is so bloody talented. The boy. I mean, I'm looking at it objectively because I don't have a personal relationship with him, but he came from a very insecure upbringing, saying I don't belong here.
Yeah.
But today, to see him blossom, and it's so complex because he still wears that insecurity on his shoulder somewhere. So it makes for a very interesting viewing as an audience member. But I think he's one of those few people who's right now opening up those synapses and opening up those minds, saying I can do a Hindi film, I can do an international film, He's opening up those doors.
A lot of new horizons.
And hats off to him, man. Hats off to that boy.
Another person, I think she's had a huge part in playing in terms of getting theatre to many, many people. I went and saw my first theatre because of her, because of Ranga Shankara, Miss Arundhati Nag.
She's a warrior. She fought that war for the live theatre industry in my country to build that space.
Yeah.
That space is going to, beyond her time, is going to make my grandchildren and their generation, I'm going to take them to that theatre and say that changed theatre for my country. And hopefully we'll have 100 Ranga Shankaras by that time.
Exactly.
And she fought that battle before us. And it's for us to carry that battle forward.
Your very dear friend, business partner, Sunil.
Sunil.
What message you want to give it to him?
Sunil, let's get rich, man. We deserve to be rich. We deserve to make the entire ecosystem rich. We deserve to make people value the arts like it's one of the most magnificent things ever. And we will stay on that mission, and let's grow old together, and let's get eventually rich, but not keep that rich. Let's spread it far and wide.
God willing, let it happen.
Yeah.
And your wife, singer Suchitra.
She always wanted to learn music as a child, and she was never allowed those opportunities. And so today she's learning art through playing music and composing and
wonderful,
and cooking. Right? She's learning almost cooking like an art form. She's just discovering new sensorial stimuli through that, and God bless her, because she's fearless at that stage in her life. She still sees herself as starting off again in something completely new, and God bless her for that curiosity and staying young
At heart.
young at heart at all points of time. So
Absolutely. You told me in the interview that in the conversation that what gives you high is inspiring people. talking to you in the last half an hour, I'm extremely inspired for the body of work that you've put and a lot more coming up in the coming years. More power, more success to you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a very active listener. Thanks for giving me a safe space to share.
Thank you. Before we let you go, a goodie bag from our gifting partners, P and Rao.
That's pretty posh. Thank you so much.
Hope you like it.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. Hi, I'm Karthik Kumar, and you can catch me on Let's Talk with Vinay. Let's talk about many things. Let's share something. Let's discuss your life and my life, and let's make meaning of it all. So please subscribe to the channel and stay connected with many such conversations that you can be privy to. Journey being a long one,
Yeah.
and I hope it's as long as it can, because I hope I to my dying day, keep doing something that constantly surprises me, helps me overcome my fears, and keeps me challenged.